Welcome back to part 2 of John Newton. Are you looking forward to hear what's going to happen next?
Yes, I can't wait, but first I've got a joke.
Oh, I like your jokes, Charlie. Do you like Charlie's jokes? Thumbs up? Yes. Okay, Charlie, over to you. What's your joke?
What did the ocean say to the shore?
Do you know the answer? What did the ocean say to the shore? I don't know. What is the answer, Charlie?
Nothing, it just waves.
Did you get that? Very good, Charlie. That was a good joke.
And what happens to John today?
Well, we're going to hear that John today got into lots of trouble.
Oh no! It's not good.
Oh no, that is awful. Well, let's hear what's going to happen now.
John was once again sitting in front of his father's enormous desk. He'd sat here many times before, listening to the same thing over and over again. Now he was bored and he just wanted to go. "Can I go now?" he said to his father. "No, you may not go." His father was really angry. He was cross with John. "I hardly know what to do with you, John. I've taken you on 5 voyages and you do absolutely nothing." John slouched back into his chair. He had heard this over and over again. "I have done everything to help you," his father said. "I got you that job in Spain doing those accounts, and you were really good at it. But then you just decided to leave. Why? Because you thought it was boring?" Now John was beginning to feel really uncomfortable. "You have to live in the real world," his father said. "The real world is not where you just lie about doing nothing, eating and drinking. The real world is where you go out and you get a job and you work hard and you earn money. If you don't work hard, you end up being poor with no money," his father said to him. John knew that if he wanted to get out of this room now, he needed to act as if he was sorry. John said to his father, "I am sorry," he said, "but I'm just not going to be a captain like you. I'm just not cut out for it." "I don't expect you to be a captain like me," his father said, "but I do expect you to work hard and to be respected and to earn your own money." Yes, father, I'll try harder," John said. "Now then," his father said to him, "I have another opportunity for you. I have a friend in Jamaica called John, and he owns a sugar plantation, and you're going to go there and you're going to work with him, and maybe in 3 or 4 years' time you will own your own sugar plantation. And that's great, John, because you'll have lots of money. That'll make you very rich." "You sail in 3 weeks," his father said to him. "But before that, I have a job for you to do in Kent. And also, I want you to go and visit your mother's cousins. They have been dying to meet you." John remembered his mother's cousins, the Catlets. He'd never met them before. 2 weeks later, John was on the snowy road in Kent. He had done his job, and now he was looking forward to going to Jamaica. But first of all, he had to pop in and visit his mother's cousins. There was so much snow on the path that John found it impossible to get to the front door. But eventually he did get to the front door, and he knocked on it quite loudly. He muttered under his breath, "Let's get this over and done with." The door opened, and John was so surprised, because on the other side of the door there was this girl, and she was absolutely beautiful. John had never seen anybody like this before. The young girl spoke to him and she said, "Hello, can I help you?" John couldn't speak for a moment. He'd never seen anyone so beautiful. "Who are you?" the girl said. "John." "John who?" "John Newton." "Oh, John," the girl said. She had heard so many things about him before. John had never been in love before, but he was sure that he was in love now. He found out that this girl's name was called Polly. She was the oldest of the Catlet children. The Catlets invited John to stay with them, and John did, and he really didn't want to go. He didn't want to leave because he loved Polly so much. He didn't tell anyone how he was feeling. But he didn't just stay one night. In fact, he ended up staying for 3 weeks. And guess what? John missed the ship that was going to Jamaica. John didn't care that he'd missed the ship. He just wanted to stay here. He didn't want to leave. And in John's mind, whatever he wanted to do, he would do it. He didn't care what his father thought. He knew his father would be angry, but he could deal with that later. But for now, he just wanted to spend time with Polly. When John's father found out that he'd missed the ship to Jamaica, he was so angry. John's father then came up with another plan. He was going to sail to the Adriatic Sea. He was going to go with another captain, who was a friend of his father's. John set sail this time, just as a sailor, but he soon joined in with all the other sailors. It wasn't long before he was getting drunk all the time. He was drinking too much alcohol, and he was swearing and cursing, and he was getting himself into all sorts of trouble. John was lazy, and there were times when he did very little work. He just wanted to be popular and be like everybody else. When he returned to England later that year, the only thing that was on his mind was to see Polly. And so he headed off to see the Catlets again. His father couldn't understand it. Why would you rush away there to see your mother's cousins? Sure, you hardly know them. Just make sure you're back in time to meet Mr. Dawes. I've made arrangements for you to be an officer on his ship, and you better be back by then, his father warned him. John hurried as fast as he could to get to the Catlets' house. He couldn't wait to see Polly. He enjoyed spending time with the family, but he kept how he felt about Polly a secret. He didn't tell anyone at all. And guess what? He stayed for a whole month, and he missed his opportunity to be an officer on the ship. John didn't care. He just wanted to spend time with Polly. But there was something that was bothering him. If he wanted to marry Polly, he knew that he would have to have a good job. He would have to be able to provide for them. Now that he'd missed his opportunity to be an officer on the ship, he knew that he needed to find another job. He wanted it to be a job that was close by. He didn't want to be sailing on a ship halfway around the world. It was too far away from Polly. One morning in March, John travelled to a nearby town called Chatham. It was cold that day, and John was walking along the street. Then he heard a voice behind him. "It looks like this boy's lost," someone said. There was 2 or 3 men, and they were beginning to close in around him. They knew that John wasn't lost. They had a different plan for him. "It seems like we might be able to help him, sir," said another man. They grabbed John and they captured him. John could tell by these men's navy blue jackets that they were part of the Navy, the British Navy. One of them was an officer. "I think this man is looking for a job. I think he's looking for a job on board our ship." This ship was called the Harwick. John realised what was happening. It wasn't that he was volunteering to work on the ship. He was being made to go and work on this ship. No one wanted to go and work on these ships because no one wanted to be involved in the war. John was taken to a building, and there he was kept under lock and key for 3 days. No one knew where he was, but his father managed to find out where John was, and he tried his best to get John freed, but he couldn't do anything. It was already arranged that John would go and work on this ship. He had no choice. John would work as a seaman on this ship. 4 days after he boarded this ship, war was declared with France. This ship, the Harwick, would sail up and down the British coast, giving protection to the other ships. Thanks to John's experience at sea and the fact that his father was a captain, John was promoted. That meant that he would get better food, that he would be treated better. But John soon wasted the opportunity. He was rude to the captain. He was lazy. He was drinking and he was cursing. One time when the ship was ashore, John asked if he could have permission to leave for 1 day. He wanted to go and see Polly. But instead he took 10 days. When he came back, the captain was really, really angry. His name was Captain Carteret. He couldn't believe how John had been so rude. After meeting with the captain, another officer took John to the side. He said to him, "The captain's been really good to you. You don't deserve that." John was rude to him. "Yes, sir. Is that it?" The officer was angry with John. "You should be grateful that you didn't get a flogging." John didn't say anything. And the officer said to him, "I advise you to change your ways. Change your attitude," he said to him, "or this is going to be a really long voyage to the East Indies." What? They were going to the East Indies? That was so far away. The officer said to him, "Have you not heard? We have been reassigned, so you better change your ways." John couldn't believe it. It was so far away. He would never see Polly. John began to plot and plan how he could get out of this. And so he began to work really hard on the ship. He changed his attitude, and he was actually really, really pleasing to the captain. The captain couldn't believe how much John had changed. John had been working so hard these past few months. It was just amazing. But underneath it all, John had a different plan. He had a plan to escape. There was no way he was going to the East Indies. The captain was so pleased with his progress that he said to him one day, "I want you to go ashore and do a job for me. Take 2 or 3 others with you, get supplies and bring them back." John had been given this responsibility because he had been working so hard. Now's my chance, John thought to himself. John was planning to run away. Plymouth was the place where they were being sent to for supplies, and that was really close to where John's father was. Maybe his father could find him another job where he could stay in England and be close to Polly. The next day, the men arrived on the shore, and John disappeared. He ran away. He managed to get his clothes changed and convince a farmer to sell him a horse. He now no longer looked like a sailor. As quickly as he could, he got away, because very soon the men on the ship would realise he was gone, and they would come looking for him. There was a split in the road. John didn't know which road to take. Should he take the road on the left or take the road on the right? How would he get to Plymouth? John raced down one of the roads as fast as he could, and he came round a corner, and he was greeted by a group of soldiers. "Where are you going to in such a hurry?" they said to him. "Oh, I need to go. My wife's having a baby and I need to go and get the doctor," he said to him. "The doctor is in Exeter," he said. "Okay, well, you better go on your way," said the man. John wasn't sure what to do. Which road should he take to Exeter? He took one road and he said thank you and he raced on. But John had taken the wrong road, and the soldiers raced after him. They said to him, "This is not the road to Exeter. You must be trying to run away from something," they said to him. "Maybe we should have a quick look in those bags of yours." And they looked through his bags and they realised that he was actually a sailor for the British Navy. He was trying to escape. They brought him back to the ship, and whenever he got back to the ship, the captain was really angry. "This man has tried to desert His Majesty's service." He ordered that John would be beaten. John's shirt was removed, and he was whipped and he was beaten. There was no escaping this punishment. John was in severe pain. Would John change his ways? What was going to happen next? You'll have to come back and find out.
He got in very big trouble.
That's right, Charlie. He ran away from the ship and he got punished.
He really needs to change.
Yes, I know someone who can help him change.
And it's Jesus!
That's right. I know Jesus can change anyone's life. We're going to have to come back for our next episode and find out what's going to happen to John. See you then. Bye.
Bye!